where in Srila Prabhupada's room, the temple pujari asked him to compile and research further from Srila Prabhupada's purports, transcribing his research using an old Italian typewriter. From 2005 to 2009, Prabhuji moved to Mayapur. David Prabhuji is a devotee of multiple talents, and he has been able to balance his grihastha ashram with his services very well. So they have moved to Bavaria to to take care of the cows, and then for some period, David Prabhuji was also teaching philosophy at Avanti House Secondary School. And now he's supporting his wife's patisserie business as well as growing in his filming, writing, and music skills. And if you have not seen Prabhuji in theater, then I would strongly recommend that the next time you think of the Bhaktivedanta players, you know where to meet David Prabhuji. So that's David Prabhuji for you. And today in the Kartik talk, he's going to speak on the correlation between Lord Damodar Leela and the application of Sankirtan Yajna. So, David Prabhuji, very honored to have you, and over to you.
Thanks so much, Madan Prabhu. Can everybody hear me okay?
Yes, we can.
Yeah? Good. All right. That was a very nice introduction. Very flattering, I must say. I wish I could live up to the nice sounding nature of it all. Actually, something that's recently developed for me is that I've started this coaching enterprise. So we're trying to help devotees and anyone really to discover their actual nature according to different fields of occupation, and help them to be properly aligned with their work. And yeah, essentially, especially for people who are maybe not satisfied in their careers, we're helping them to recognize their actual nature and where that is best applied in the world. And this is happening under the auspices of Urmila Mataji, who wrote this wonderful book, very scholarly book called Career Dharma. So she has really done a lot of the heavy lifting in terms of understanding the types of mentality or temperament in human society, and how these temperaments can find their real niche or their element, in the working environment. So this is something that we started recently, and it's a lot of fun. I'm having a good time helping people like this. Okay. So I mentioned to Dharmendra Prabhu that we would talk about the correlation between the Lord's Damodar Lila and Sankirtana Yajna. Yes? And the inspiration for this is simply from a clip that I heard and saw of Ayendra Prabhu. How many of you are familiar with Ayendra Prabhu, who spent many years in Vrindavan Dham and led the 24-hour kirtan there? How can we get a good? Usha says yes. Any other hands up? Any other devotees are familiar with Ayendra? Lydia? Okay. So I'm going to try something a little unconventional here. Rather than me paraphrase what Ayendra Prabhu says, I want to actually play this clip for you. And it's only 5 minutes or less than 5 minutes, but it's very, very important. And I think it's very important that you hear it directly from Ayendra Prabhu himself, because he will deliver this message in a way that I never could. So I want us to hear from Ayendra Prabhu on this topic, and then we can maybe try to make it clear if it's not clear, or understand it a little better, and maybe even take some questions regarding this topic. Okay? So I don't have a way of sharing it directly with you. I'm not going to attempt that now, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to open the clip, and I'm going to play it into the microphone. Of course, my Facebook feed is being erratic, and giving me trouble here. But is everybody ready to hear from Indra Prabhu? Yeah. I don't know if you there's the clip of him. Okay, he was speaking, I think, in Vrindavan, and I'm not sure what year this is, but it could be first decade of this century, so the 2000s, maybe even after 2010. All right. So let's hear what Prabhu has to say regarding the binding of Lord Krishna by Mother Yashoda with the ropes, and how this relates to our performance of Sankirtana Yagya. Okay, is everybody good? Ready? Yeah? Okay, great.
Coming 2 inches, 2 fingers too short. She collected all the ropes in her house. She had no more ropes, and it was still 2 inches too short. So what did she do? No. What did she do? You don't know what she did. She gave up. She engaged her friends to bring ropes from their without her doing Sankirtan, there was no question of Krishna seeing her extra endeavor. You can make all the extra endeavor in your own account, but if you don't extend yourself to help others by engaging them in the pursuit of binding Krishna, you may have your pursuit, but you have to engage others in helping you to pursue your goal. That is Sankirtan. Who can do it alone? In Kali Yuga, it is not within our means to do it alone. Therefore, Mahaprabhu, he doesn't just say Hare Nam, Hare Nam, Hare Nam, maybe Kevalam. He's not just saying just to chant, chant, chant. He says, Kali Yuga Dharma Sankirtan. Sankirtan means Sangha Kirtan, and it means Samyak Kirtan. Yes, yes. Sankirtan Jagya is essential in Kali Yuga. There's no Sankirtan, your japa can never go deep. So, making the extra endeavor, you have to do two types of extra endeavor. Extra endeavor in your japa, and extra endeavor by engaging others also to come forward to assist in the group effort to appeal to Lord Krishna for his mercy, appeal to Radharani for her mercy, appeal to Nitai Gaur for their mercy. Then you can expect to get something. Without surrendering to the Sankirtan principle, you can hardly expect to get anything. That is called the independent angel. Don't try to be an independent angel. We do our japa so we have something to share with others in the form of Sankirtan. And we do Sankirtan so that there's hope that we may go deeper and deeper into our japa jagya. Sankirtan is like Rasa Leela, and japa is like Nikunja Seva. Both are required. Don't know. Jaya. Sankirtan, Rasa Leela, and japa, Nikunja Leela. By doing Sankirtan Jagya, Rasa Leela, then Krishna's interest in you is increased. Just like when the gopis, they were cooperating together to bring pleasure to Krishna by their Rasa Leela. Their group effort, cooperating together. When Krishna sees the cooperative spirit, that selfless service attitude, cooperative spirit, the endeavor to cooperate with others, that means we have to give up our egocentricity enough, give up our, independence enough to cooperate with others. And that takes a certain higher level of selflessness. When Krishna sees that higher level of selflessness, he becomes inclined to more intimately associate with the gopis. That's his appetite for more advanced conjugal pastimes with the gopis in the Nikunja.
Not quite finished. Almost there.
Pastimes in the Kunja. So these things you should try to understand deeply. Krishna will help you. Krishna will reciprocate. But he wants to see that selfless seva bhavana in the Sankirtan performance. Vasalila.
Okay, so that's the entire recording. Was everybody able to hear that? Okay. Yeah, great. Dharmendra Prabhu was giving me a thumbs up. Thanks. All right, so I just want to summarize this for us. At the time I posted this 5 years ago, one Russian devotee asked me, what's he saying? I'm a bit lost. So I tried to summarize it for him. And I wrote this. I said that, well, I posed the question first of all. When did Krishna agree to let Mother Yashoda bind him with ropes? Yeah. It was only after she engaged her friends in the extra effort, right? So she got all the rope in her own house several times, collecting more and more and more. Okay, attempting to bind Lord Krishna to the wooden grinding mortar, but she was always 2 inches too short. And then Ayendra Prabhu mentions that finally she had to engage her friends. She had to ask them to bring all the rope from their houses. Yeah. She went the extra mile. She went to some extra effort. So Prabhu says this is the Sankirtana principle. Yeah. In order to really catch Krishna's attention, to really get somewhere in our relationship with the Lord, yeah, you could say, in order to fast track our Krishna consciousness, yeah, we should endeavor to engage others in the group effort of pleasing Krishna. And this is compared to Rasa Lila, right, where there is a cooperative group effort in Krishna's service, and others are included and encouraged. Yeah, such a selfless group effort enhances the pleasure of the intimate Nikunja Lila. So, as we know, of course, the Lord's Rasa Lila involves many. There are many gopis dancing with Krishna in his Rasa Lila. And he is pleased by their cooperation, yeah, and their willingness to see others enjoy intimately with the Lord, right? And as a result of this selfless service attitude, then Krishna is able to relish the more intimate pastimes with his devotees in the Nikunja. In a similar way, our effort to engage others in the Sankirtan Yagya will allow us to go deeper in our personal bhajan. So we will be able to appreciate Krishna's reciprocation in our japa. Doing Sankirtana enlivens our japa, and strong japa empowers our Sankirtan. Right? They both support and nourish each other. When I go out of my way to help someone become closer to Krishna, when I go out of my way to engage someone else in Krishna's service, then I find that my relationship with Krishna is improved and deepened. And I am able to right, relish my nama japa, my personal, private time with Krishna even more. And in the same way, if I take my japa seriously and I attempt to do it as it should be done, right, attentively and with devotion, then I'm also strengthened in the act of going out and calling others to come and take to the path of devotional service. So Ayendra Prabhu says that in this Kali Yuga, you can't be an independent angel. Right? That will not work. You can't be an independent angel and expect to get somewhere. Right? Who can go it alone? So working with others and uplifting others to get Krishna's mercy is the fast track way to get that mercy oneself. Because it takes a certain amount of selflessness and putting aside one's own ego. We don't always get to be the leader or the center of the attention, and we have to cooperate with others, and sometimes we have to take a back seat. Sometimes we have to support someone that we may not always have exactly the same idea as, right? We may have slightly diverging opinions on how to do things, but because we're willing to cooperate for the common aim of satisfying the Lord, glorifying Krishna, and reaching out to anyone and everyone who does not know about Krishna, because we're willing to cooperate in that endeavor and we share a common aim. Therefore, Krishna sees that selfless effort, and he very much likes that. He appreciates that. So Lord Chaitanya, he has inaugurated the Yuga Dharma, and it is specifically Sankirtana Yagya. Sankirtana Yagya. So Sankirtana Yagya means that glorification of the Lord, which is done in Sangha, yes, with others cooperatively, and Samyak, completely. So wholeheartedly, full on, fired up. And we're prepared to put aside any personal differences or cultural idiosyncrasies, and we're willing to work with others, cooperate with others as a team to bring others into our fold. Not because we want to expand the number of members in our club, but because we know that no soul in this material world can truly be peaceful and happy until they come to the lotus feet of the Lord. And Krishna is also not pleased that they are rotting in forgetfulness, suffering threefold miseries of material existence. So the Lord becomes, he says to the gopis that Naparayaham, I cannot repay you for your selfless devotion to me. And in the Bhagavad Gita, he says that there will never be a servant more dear to me than one who preaches this message of Bhagavad Gita to the devotees, which means those who are ripe for taking to the path of devotion. So Krishna is pleased by our special effort to preach. And this is something actually that I heard from a devotee, from Radha Govinda Prabhu, who's a spiritual master in Romania, and he heard it from Swayam Bhagavan Keshava Maharaj, who apparently said that some people love to preach. Yeah, some devotees love to preach. And some devotees, they love the people they preach to. So which am I, right? Which are we? We may love to preach because maybe we like the sound of our own voice, or we like to be, the center of attention for a few minutes. Maybe we like the fact that others are listening to us and paying us some respect. But actually, the motive behind our preaching should be that we want to satisfy the Lord. We want to please Krishna. And we want to help another soul and their material struggle, and find eternal shelter at the lotus feet of Krishna. That's why we want to help preach. And in order to do that, to really do it effectively, we're going to have to work as a team. We're going to have to put our heads together, put our energies together, and work cooperatively. Seeing that willingness to cooperate, to put aside our own ego and do the needful, yeah, then the Lord becomes impressed, you could say. He notices, right? He notices. And then naturally he'll reciprocate. Yes. Just like I've heard that during the First World War, the soldiers who went onto the front line, yeah, maybe in the Second World War as well, I'm sure, they got all the best all the best supplies. I mean, all the best food, all the best, yeah, everything for their comfort and satisfaction, because they're doing the most precarious and self-sacrificing work. Everyone back at home is on rations, yeah, but the guys that are in the front line, they get the best stuff. Yeah, they're getting the most reciprocation, you could say, for their special endeavor. So we can see that also when Srila Prabhupada was physically present here, any devotees that really stuck their neck out to preach and to go to a difficult place or to talk to people that, you know, could easily have you killed or thrown in jail, yeah, those devotees received special mercy. I think Srila Prabhupada told Sudama Maharaj that either before he went to Japan or maybe after he had gone to Japan, he said, um, it helps to get the details right. Yeah. And he said that by doing this, by taking on this extra sacrifice, then Krishna will personally come and take you back to Godhead at the time of death. And if anybody knows the history of Sudama Maharaj and what happened to him in this movement and ultimately how he became very sick, and at the time of his passing, the devotees, they found him, they came to him, and they helped him at that time. And when the moment came, it was very apparent to everybody that Srila Prabhupada kept his word, his promise, that certainly Lord Krishna, and I think even Srila Prabhupada himself, came at that time to take him. Because what were his final words? His final words, I remember listening to this in a class in Mayapur, was Badri Narayan Swami. He said that at the time of his passing, Sudama, his eyes lit up, he sat up and he said, "Prabhupada, you came!" So this is extra special dispensation, extra special mercy for one who goes out of their way to give Krishna's message and mercy to others. And in order to do that, it is necessary to cooperate with other devotees and certainly, of course, to surrender to the instruction of the spiritual master. So I just love this comparison between Mother Yashoda's, trouble in attempting to bind Krishna, and of course Srila Prabhupada says that it's not possible to bind the Supreme Lord, and only if he agrees, being satisfied with the love of his devotee, then he may be bound. So she's working really, really hard to bind Krishna, to capture Krishna. But he cannot be bound, he cannot be captured. And in the same way, we may try very, very hard in our personal bhajan to capture Krishna. So many mornings chanting, so many years performing so much service. Yes. And still we may feel like, I don't know Krishna so well, or I'm not so close, or I'm not getting very far. So if we really want to increase the velocity of our spiritual travel, then we have to think, how can I get Krishna's attention even more? And the simple means is to become a preacher, to become a sincere preacher, which means to understand personally the value of this Krishna consciousness by hearing from Srila Prabhupada, yes, and his sincere followers. By hearing that message ourselves, allowing that message to purify our own consciousness, by following their instructions, chanting the holy names sincerely and strictly. And then by our personal example, we'll be strengthened and empowered when we attempt to invite others to join us. So when Mother Yashoda engaged the help of her friends, yeah, she engaged them also in this attempt to bind Krishna, yeah. Then seeing that extra endeavor, the Lord became satisfied. And he agreed to allow his mother to bind him at that point. And in the same way, right, if we want to capture Krishna, if we want to bind him within our own heart, then we can double our efforts to give Krishna to others. And because there are many others who know nothing about Krishna, know nothing about the absolute truth, and they're suffering. Srila Prabhupada says, Vaishnav means to feel for suffering humanity. That is a real Vaishnava. And therefore, to attempt to do something that will be of ultimate benefit to others. And there are many, many people. Look at the state of the world. The reason the world is in such a state is because practically there's no knowledge. So much envy, so much selfish behavior. And if even a tiny percentage of the population takes an interest in Krishna consciousness, the whole face of the earth can be turned. Yeah. If the people become Krishna conscious, then they will only accept a leader who is Krishna conscious. If we value democracy, then in order to get a good Krishna conscious leader, the population must become itself interested in Krishna consciousness. Right? So there's a lot of work to be done. And Lord Chaitanya's desire is that his name is known all over the world, and that everybody takes up this path of devotional service. Of course, we cannot expect that everyone will take it up, but as Srila Prabhupada said, if even a small percentage take it up, the whole face of the world can change. So who's going to do it? It's up to those that are here now, in the present, at this time, at this place, right? In our little block, right? In our tiny community, in our village, our town, yeah, our city. We're the ones that have to do it here and now. We can't be everywhere all at once. Krishna can, of course, and he can make the whole world liberated and pure devotee in an instant, but he doesn't, because what would be the fun in that? And he doesn't interfere with our minute independence. So he distributes his mercy through his devotees who love him. This is how he distributes himself. This is how he distributes knowledge about himself, through his devotees. So if we want to become a dear devotee of Krishna, then we should take up his mission. Then when we become dear to him, what is there? What's left to gain? If you become very dear to Krishna, and he bestows upon you his own prema bhakti, his pure love, pure unalloyed love, then what else is there to gain? There's nothing else to gain. This is the ultimate goal of life, prema pumartha mahan, the supreme goal of life, prema bhakti. Does anybody have any question or reflection on anything that we've said? Or specifically also what Ayendra Prabhu said?
Hare Krishna, David Prabhu. I think that was amazing. And you really invited us to really look at our own services and see what is it that are we doing it in a very sincere way? Are we doing that in a way that strengthens our love for Krishna, or are we doing it like in a way differently? So thank you so much for that. So I think while I would like to invite like those on the call to see if you have any questions, any reflections. And in fact, David Prabhu, I would just like to say that when we started off this, the daily Kartik Sangha, one of the first things that we spoke about is how do we really strengthen our love for Krishna? And in today's talk, you have given lots of insights and inputs into how we can do that in a very practical way. So thank you so much for that.
Did you say how we do what with our love for
I
Krishna?
mean, how do we strengthen our love and bhakti,
Yeah.
like in the month of Kartik? So how do we come closer to him? How do we,
Yeah.
in the last class, we heard about how, we need to bind, Krishna, like with the knot of love. But then
Okay.
how say that love is what we need to really question ourselves and ask ourselves, are we really doing it with sincerity? Are we really doing our services, with
Yeah.
with a sincere love that we want? So
Yeah. The answer is simple, isn't it? Sankirtana Yagya.
yeah,
But it doesn't just mean to officially come together and yeah, go through the motions, pay lip service while the mind is elsewhere. We actually want to enter deeply into the right mood of crying for Krishna and specifically helping others to do the same, encouraging others to do the same. If I care less about my own advancement and I try more to encourage others to reach Krishna, then I will find that my own advancement is taken care of.
absolutely, and that's really exactly right, because when you serve others, you're really serving yourself, and but when you're serving yourself, you're not really serving the others, and that's not really what Krishna wants. So I think it's
Sure.
beautiful.
It's
Uh, yeah. Do we
it's
have
a
questions?
it's a byproduct, you could say, right? We're
Yeah,
concerned with helping others more than we're concerned with getting it for ourselves. But
yeah,
but as a result, we also get, yeah. It's just like some people on festival days, especially I remember years ago, maybe not so much now because distribution of prasadam during festivals, at least the Bhaktivedanta manner, is a little more, um, well, it's broader in scope, yeah. But in the good old days, there were maybe less of us, and it was still a big feast, I remember. But I can remember personally just being anxious about, what I'm going to get and how can I get it all, because I'm looking at all these different preparations and I want everything. And I can't bear the thought that I might miss out on one particular preparation, yeah. But as you get a little older and wiser and experienced, then it just comes to the point where you just, hey, whatever comes my way, that's fine. I'll be happy, because trying to
Ab-
get it all is just it's too much anxiety, man. Life's too hard anyway as it is. So, and then when we care more about giving others, yeah, like there's a little bit of maha left, and you think, oh, this would I want, let me give this to this person, right? They would appreciate it more than me, or I really like them, or maybe it's a close friend or a family member, and you think, I want them to have it, yeah. I've had so much maha, let them have some. Let them have more. I'm not worried, right? Krishna will take care of me. Let them have it. If everybody thought like this, yeah, it would be heaven on earth.
Absolutely.
When I was a kid at school, we had um, I think it must have been a Church of Ireland priest. He came in, and he was describing the difference between heaven and hell. And he said, in hell, they're all sitting around the dinner table, and everybody has these really long utensils, Okay, so if you can imagine, everyone has a super long spoon. Okay, and they're not able to eat with their hands; they have to eat with these spoons. But somehow or other, you can only hold the spoon, the long spoon, at its handle, right? And because it's so long, you're not able to collect the food and sufficiently extend your arm so that you can get the head of the spoon with the food into your own mouth. So everybody is perplexed. We can't eat because we can't shovel the food into our own mouth, right? That's hell.
Mm.
And then in heaven, he said exactly the same scenario. You have a very nice table, lots of preparations, a great banquet, and they all have the same, elongated, oversized spoons, but they've resolved the problem by
Feeding each other.
feeding each other. So everybody's eating and everybody's feeding, and this is heaven.
Mm.
So the energy is um, directed toward the center, right? That's the point. The energy is directed toward the center, toward God. And how do we do that? We do that certainly in our private bhajan, right? And by engaging others to serve the center. Okay, I'll stop talking. Maybe there's some other question. Dharmendra Prabhu's got his hand up, I see.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, I think you may have answered this in just your talk just now, but from what you were saying, I could visualize it being like a relay race, if you know what I mean, where one person, the community are supporting each other to get round.
Yeah.
My question here is that what do you do where where you get a time where one person is trying to give you the thing to carry on and that drops. So what in that sort of what I'm trying to get at here is that how do you uplift someone when they're down and be part of that same congregation?
These seem to are they two different questions? How do you uplift someone when they're down?
Yeah.
I wasn't able to understand how the second part related to that.
To try to, because you were talking about working as a team in a congregation.
Yeah.
You cannot bind Krishna unless you do so as a group,
Cooperation.
corporation. So what I was saying is that where someone is struggling and that corporation may not be quite there, how do you overcome that, and how do you get that person back on track?
Someone is struggling because well, they're not able to cooperate with others, or they're seeing that others aren't cooperating with them.
It could be a combination of two. I'm just trying to get gets trying to put something out there, if you know what I mean, to help others in the sense of thinking about what they would do in certain situations like
Mhm.
that. So yeah, if you could,
Okay. Wow.
yes,
Yeah. I mean, that's now you're. Yeah, we say easier said than done, right? You know,
correct.
I can just come on here and say, hey, let's all cooperate. Cooperation is the name of the game. That's how we get Krishna's mercy. Let's all go out and help everybody else. Let's encourage each other in our own communities. Yeah. Talk is cheap, Dharmendra Prabhu, right? It's very cheap. But when it comes to the nitty gritty, yeah, how to actually do it and be that servant leader and help others, especially if they have, problems themselves working with others, yeah, and they expect X, Y, and Z. So then how do we facilitate them or encourage them or help them to go further? Am I getting the sense of the question? Yeah? Okay. Phew. Okay. Well, the first thing is by our own behavior to set a nice example. So that means tolerance, yeah? Maintaining a tolerant disposition and a humble disposition. doing our best not to lose our temper or to speak harshly, right? But rather to be respectful. So the thing that will surely kill our spiritual life is if we fail to be humble and tolerant, and if we expect to be respected, yeah, while failing to give it to others. So basically, just do everything opposite in the third verse of Shikshashtakam, and we can certainly kill our own spiritual life, right? So let's focus on the positive. Let me remember Turnadapi Sunichana Torori Vasahishnuna Amani Namana Dena Kirtaniya Sadahari. Right? If I'm going to get Krishna's mercy, I have to be able to chant both in japa and in Sankirtana. So if I'm going to actually be able to chant, then I have to be humble, tolerant, respectful to others, all others, and not expect to get it myself. That's not easy to do. But when you realize that Krishna loves me and I'm going to discover more of that love if I can do this, then hey, I'll sally forth. I'll keep up with the program. Okay, so behavior, sadachar would be the first thing. Because then the tendency is that someone who may be difficult, if their personality is difficult, then they might be more inclined to listen to you. They might be more inclined to look up to you or respect you because they see that here's someone who is willing to be humble with me and tolerate me. Yeah, it kind of helps to lighten a person's mind or soften their heart a little bit. Of course, not always. There's some people are tough nuts to crack. Yeah, and we also have to know our boundaries. We also have to know, when do I intervene and say, hey, you can't do that, right? Or this is not appropriate here, or we have a particular service or duty to execute for Krishna's satisfaction, and you're acting in a way that is creating an obstacle. So so you have to say something, yeah, because just for the sake of pleasing one person, you can't sacrifice the momentum, the spiritual momentum of the collective. So there's a way to deal with people that is simultaneously, it has to be for the good of everyone, and it also has to be as respectful as possible of the individual, right? This is why being a manager is such a tough gig, yeah, because it's so hard to please everyone all the time. Anyway, so okay, my own behavior, very important, and then give these people that are struggling, give them an opportunity and many, many opportunities to hear and chant, because that's the medicine. The medicine is the hearing and chanting, and the diet is Krishna Prasadam. So extend opportunities for them to come and hear Harikatha and chant the holy name with sincere devotees. And take Krishna Prasadam, because the diet and the medicine will do its work. So our personal behavior and our respectful dealings and extending opportunities for them to receive spiritual treatment. And you can't save everybody. You do your best. We do our best to help everybody, to invite everybody. But if they don't come, or if they walk out after 5 minutes, yeah, or if they kick up a fuss and we have to ask them nicely, better you're not here right now, yeah, then that's what we have to do. Yeah, but we keep extending. Lord Nityananda's mercy knows no bounds. He's the last limit of mercy. So we should demonstrate mercy as well. Mercy sometimes also comes in the form of admonishment. But to be able to admonish, one has to be very careful, and I would say one has to be empowered to admonish. Because it could go, either the person will take it well and it will purify them, or it will push them further away. So when it comes to correcting, one has to be very expert and empowered, really. If they're your students, maybe they'll take it. If you're in a managerial position where you must do certain things, you still have to be very careful. Yeah, but we should be careful with our. We shouldn't be trigger happy. That's what I'm trying to say. When it comes to criticism or correction of others, we should be very, very careful to lay off the trigger. Yeah, so practice tolerance. And if we have to say something, be very considerate, be very thoughtful and careful, and don't unnecessarily embarrass someone in front of others. Yeah. So anyway, I'm going on and on and on. Basically, we have to be nice examples of soft-hearted devotees, right? Compassionate devotees. Okay.
Thank you very much, Prabhu, for a very comprehensive answer. And sorry about making it so confusing, by the way, but that was
No, it's
absolutely
okay.
brilliant. Thank you. Hare
I'm glad you're
Krishna.
happy.
Hare
Thanks,
Krishna.
thanks, Dharmendra Prabhu, for the question. And we have a last question from Indulekha Mataji today.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Krishna,
Thank
Mataji.
you. Thank you so much for this nice explanation. I learned a new thing today, which I have never thought about, as how did Krishna allow himself to be bound by
Yeah.
Yashoda just because she engaged others in the service. So that is like cooperation to serve the Supreme Personality for his satisfaction. That bit I never knew about it. Thank you so much. And also we know Srila Prabhupada, he used to say, if you are sincere, I will take you to Golok. I have the back door key and hold on to my dhoti. I will take all of you if you are sincere. So
Yes.
just a thought today because of his departure from this material world. I've been thinking about lots of things in this morning. So thank you, Prabhuji, thank you. And then to Dharmendra Prabhu, I would say also diet, medicine plus patience. I know you have lots of patience. You are managing lots of things, but patience will help a lot. Hare Krishna, thank you.
Haribol Mataji, thanks so much.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Indulekha Mataji. And thank you so much, David Prabhu. I think it's been really inspiring. And I'm sure that you have given us a lot of opportunities to reflect on what we should be doing in terms of preaching, in terms of spiritual service, in terms of cooperation with other devotees. So thank you so much. And Indulekha Mataji, sorry, would you like to wrap us up with the Vaishnava prayer? Because we normally end the Sangha with a Vaishnava prayer. So would you like to?
You're asking me?
Yeah, I'm asking you.
Okay. Yeah, or you mean Vanchakalpa prayer?
Yes, that's right.
Sure. Okay. Just before that, I just wanted to respond briefly to Indulekha Mataji.
Of course.
She mentioned sincerity, and yeah, if we're sincere, then Srila Prabhupada has the backdoor key. We just have to hold on to him. So this sincerity is manifest, of course, in our willingness to follow Srila Prabhupada's instructions. And that can be quite a challenge. I mean, that can be quite a, challenge as the word literally means, yeah? When someone challenges you and says, this is what we expect, this is what we're asking you to do. So when Srila Prabhupada says, you follow 4 regulative principles, chant 16 rounds, right? Hear and read and discuss my books and lectures. That's a challenge. It's a big challenge for all of us. And then to the degree that we accept the challenge and really try for it, so that will be the test of our sincerity. How much I'm really attempting to execute these instructions. And also, of course, helping others and encouraging others to do the same. Then we can hope for mercy. And if we're very blasé about it, then it might take a little longer. Yeah, this is not a sentimental process. If we don't love Krishna purely, then we will have to again take birth in this material world to complete the course. So we want to be sincere, and that sincerity will be proven by how we accept the challenge. Okay, that's all I wanted to say on that. I'm preaching to myself, by the way. This is you're all thanking me for coming and talking, but actually, I should be thanking you for allowing me to say something that exposes my own inadequacies in this regard, and I'm being challenged myself to do more and do better, and to walk the talk. Like I said, talk is cheap. So okay.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Prabhuji.
So we say our the obeisances prayer to all the Vaishnavas, yeah, and then we quit the meeting. Is it? Or I'll let you have the last say, Madan. Yeah.
No, I mean, perfectly fine. You can have the last say today. So feel free to do the Vaishnav prayer and then
Okay.
and then we can conclude. Yeah, thank you.
All right. Okay. Really great to have everybody's association on here. Thank you for allowing me to say something. I hope that you feel benefited in some way by what Krishna allowed me to speak. And yeah, I really appreciate the opportunity. Vansha kalpa trubhyascha kripa sindhubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Hare Krishna.